Hello, 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 and welcome to the first ever episode of the Summer Spotlight 2020. I am your host, Gayle NIcholson. Thank you for coming back to this new reiteration of the show. We are heading out of coronavirus quarantine. And in the spirit of reopening and heading back out into the sun, and celebrating, of course, the solstice that happened over the weekend and all of the astrological portents and configurations that are impacting us right now. We want to redesign and refocus moving forward into the light, out of the concealment, out of the confinement, out of the lockdown, into what life is going to be now after COVID-19. So, I invite you to share this with your friends. Please give us some hearts, give us some likes. If you can, go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. And I am looking forward so much to offering you more and more insights into different people around the web who are helping others make it through these chaotic and confusing times. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you once again to one of my favorite guests on this show, Ms. Joanne Angel BarryColon, certified fitness personal trainer and owner of Holistic Fitness in Queens, New York. Thank you once again for joining me, Joanne. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, and thank you so much for having me again on this first episode of the Summer Spotlight 2020. It's exciting.
Thank you. I think so, but I'm a little partial to it. Um,
Anything new is exciting.
right, right.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
there was a an album put out by Barry Manilow a number of years ago, 20, 30 years ago, but it was called Manilow Talks, and it was all these little moments of his opinion on things, right? And one of those segments is, endings and new beginnings. And,
Mm,
that's why he triggered in my head when you said that, because you said exactly what he said, that new beginnings are always exciting,
yes, yes.
always exciting. There's so much potential and so much possibility and so much out there that we can create. So, with these new and changing orders statewide, I know you're in New York State. I'm in Arizona, where they've gotten butt pucker scared again, and everything's on a second close down. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it was. I got shunned out of a Walmart yesterday for getting a mask. So
oh,
it was, didn't make a
you
big
gotta
deal
wear
about it.
that mask.
I didn't go full Karen or anything.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, all right, fine, um so in the industry of personal physical fitness, a lot of people are going to be going, oh, my gym's open, should I go, right? And that's what I'd like to talk to you about today, is considering that question with some wisdom and some forethought. So, what do you think? If a person has got a membership at a huge, like, warehouse exercise place that's got 20 weight machines and 30, yoga mats or whatever, it's like geared for large amounts of people. Do you think that it's safe for them to be going there to work out yet?
Well, that's a loaded question. And, and hopefully I'm going to have a loaded answer. Yes, yes. And it's interesting because I actually had this same conversation with a client of mine who lives in Florida, and I've been working with her remotely since the gym's closed. And she just recently told me that her gym has opened, and she has what do they call it? A compromised immune system. So she's concerned about going. She
Hmm.
did receive an email from the gym indicating that they are going to be practicing the social distancing and also wearing masks. Now, what I like to touch on with just that alone,
Hmm.
as a certified personal trainer, and also using a little bit of common sense. I don't think you need to be a certified personal trainer to get this concept. But when you're working out is challenging enough breathing wise without having anything over your face.
Hmm.
So theoretically, if you're going to have to literally wear a mask in the gym to work out, my opinion only, I don't really believe a gym should be opening if that's the case. I think they either need to develop some sort of protocol or policy in regards to being able to exercise without a mask on, because it's going to be dangerous to start off with. And for the individual who may have a compromised immune system, the idea of going into a gym and having to wear a mask is going to put them from my perspective, it's going to put them at a greater risk of putting themselves in danger while working out with a mask on. And in reference to, I mean, yes, I know it's really exciting. Everyone's like, yay, my gym is going to open up again. And should I be going? So now again, for those who are going to choose to go, some of the things that I would suggest people to do, ideally, obviously bring a towel. This way here, you can drape that towel over the equipment you're going to be using. Because yes, I know the gyms are going to be sanitizing and whatever not, but to be safe, a long towel, something like you would use to go to the beach where you're going to lay on.
Okay.
This way here, you're covering the machines. Secondly, also for those who are going to take classes, bring your own yoga mats. So you're not using the gym's mats. You're going to use your own mats. So you know that it's got your own germs on it. Because no matter how much they may clean down the yoga mat, I don't believe they're going to be able to clean them down as quickly between classes, whatever have you. So I recommend those two things are like most important. And third, if they are really requiring people to wear those masks, you may have to use your own judgment, and maybe rather than wearing the mask all the way up where it's covering your nose, wear it that is just below. And even if possible, go even a little lower when you're not around people.
Okay.
Now, my actual own personal opinion of it all, I really think anyone who has a compromised immune system is putting themselves at major risk if they're going to be going into a gym to work out with a mask. It's not healthy. It's from my point of view, it's dangerous.
Well, I don't disagree with you. And from just the common sense point of view, I mean, when your heart rate gets up there and you're breathing, you're already taxing your system exponentially. That's the whole point of working out is that. But you really, really need that oxygen flow. And if a portion of the oxygen flow that you're getting is your own carbon dioxide and your own expelled bacteria, and your capillaries are wide open.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds to me like a recipe for just injecting germs into your bloodstream.
Exactly.
But again, that's just, and I found out an interesting little tidbit about those N95 masks that everybody are like, yeah, these are the top of the line. These are great. These are the ones to have, right? The ones with the little vents on the side. Now we're 3 months into this. This is the first that I had read this. Those masks are made to be used in an area that's already contaminated. Okay.
Oh.
So it filters what's coming into you. It does not filter your breath going out. So if you think you're protecting anyone else by wearing that mask, you're not. You're protecting yourself, not a bad thing, but you're not protecting anyone else with that kind of a mask, because you're just what you expel does not get filtered in any way, shape, or form. And it's not as good as we think it is. So what are
interesting?
Yeah, I was floored when I saw that. I'm like, really? And I'm just finding this out now. This is interesting.
Yes.
So what are some other options? I mean, I know people are getting bored and tired of, making do, right? So do you have any ideas for anything like we were talking about? Newness is exciting. A way to switch it up. If you do have a compromised immune system and you're not really safe to be going back to your big warehouse building of exerciser people, then what can you do to make your workouts at home new, different somehow?
Well, before I go ahead and answer that question,
Okay.
what I'd like to do is I'm going to answer that question, but I'm going to make a statement in regards to, for those who do have a compromised immune system, the idea of it is to see about trying to get to the underlying cause of the compromised immune system. So this way here, eventually you can work on healing that compromised immune system, so you're not at risk, where eventually you can go back to the gym and doing some of what I like to call the healing work to really get an understanding to what the compromised immune system is and how deep does it really run into the womb, and can it be something that one can actually work on what I like to call energetically, to work on healing it, so over time they do not have the compromised immune system. So I think that's something that one might want to think about if they never even thought about that in that perspective of the energetic work behind it.
Okay.
Because I'm a firm believer that anything, whether it's a physical or whether it's illness or disease, it's all really connected to some sort of emotion that has not really been addressed in the past before. They may not even realize that they're holding an emotion that causes a trigger to that physical condition, illness, or disease.
Interesting. Yeah.
And if they can look and evaluate that, or even for that matter, just have a conversation with someone like myself who does healing work, to find out whether or not they are that one person that may be able to heal their autoimmune disease through some healing work, and really get into the, as I like to call it, the nitty gritty of it all, and really start working on pulling out whatever issues that show up. Then they will not have the concern of, well, I have a compromised immune system, and is it really healthy and safe for me to be working out with a bunch of people, nevertheless with a mask on? But now, answering your question in regards to how can one make their workouts new again after they've been working out, quote unquote, at home. And my philosophy is we can make our workouts new every time we work out. Doesn't have to be over a period of time. And my approach is you take whatever workout you're doing, and either you start with if you have, let's say, a list of 12 exercises that you do, rather than starting with the first one every time you work out, start with the second one as the first one and change up the order that way. Plus, one can turn around and do, rather than focusing on how many repetitions they're doing, they can set their stopwatch and do that exercise for 30 seconds or a minute and get a different type of workout in that way. They can turn around and do what I like to call interval training, where they can, if they like to jump rope, they can use a jump rope. If they don't know how to jump rope, or they're not capable of jumping rope, they can pretend they're jumping rope. And they could do like a jump rope segment of work, where they do jump rope and then they do an exercise. Like, one of my favorite programs that I put together for many of my clients are interval workouts, where they'll do about 30 seconds to 1 minute. And this is really depending on the individual's health status in reference to how long I have them do the cardio portion for. So we'll say 30 seconds. And then I have them do some strength training exercise, a lower body, then an upper body, and then an ab exercise, and then I take them back to their cardio. So in one actual interval, they will do 4 different types of movement before they go back to 3 different types of movement before they go back to their jump rope, or whatever cardio exercise they want to do. And the cardio exercise could be as simple as just walking in place or marching in place. Doesn't have to be anything intensified. The idea of it is just changing it up, so they're not like, ugh, I have to do the same routine again.
Yeah, exactly.
And some people like the same routine. I mean, I work with many different types of clients. Like, I'll say for my daughter, for example, every time she comes into the gym to do her workout, she says to me, "Mom, I need a new program." And I'm like, I only gave you a new program the other day. Like, I need a new one today. I'm like, really? Like, how inventive can I actually be for you? And I'm like, oh, I'm a personal trainer. I could be very inventive.
Yeah, but there's that whole daughter energy that gets it. Come on, I'm teaching you how to do this.
Exactly. So for her, I have to put together a different program for her every time she does a workout, because she just needs variety. Where another client may be really okay with the regimented, let's say 12 exercises, and I hand it to them, In fact, I have this one client that if I change her program just by moving the exercise from the second exercise to the third, if I do that with her, she flips out. She's like, my program has changed. I'm like, yeah, I just changed the order. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, no, it's changed. I need to do the first exercise first. I'm like, okay.
I can relate with that woman.
What's that?
I said I can relate with that woman. First of all, right, without your permission, I would never change the order of my workouts. There's obviously some sort of magic in the linear progression of all of this. And if I don't do this exercise before this exercise, it's going to hurt later. That's where mine goes, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
well, it's funny you say that.
Uh-huh.
It's really funny you say that, because I've had clients who will skip a specific exercise where they won't do it, and at the end I'll go back to their page and I'm like I gave you 12 exercises, you only did 11. How come? Oh, I didn't want to do that one today. Like, what? Like, huh? I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. We got to go back and do the exercise because it's just as important, so again, going back to like, how do we prevent ourselves from getting bored? Now, I can never get that philosophy of getting bored, because to me, it's like, I've been working out since I'm 12.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm one of those types of people where I like a routine. I like to know that I'm going to do this exercise first. And, maybe I'll change it up, just, whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's so many different ways that one can really change up their whole routine without having to change the exercises. And it's like I just mentioned, the interval training, they can do rather than counting repetition, they can just set the timer and just do 30 seconds of movement in that exercise and just go through their whole regimen. And before you know it, they're done.
Nice.
And also too, I mean, since they're not limited to a gym and they're working out from home, hey, go outside and work out. Mm-hmm. So that's a change in itself, change your environment. I mean, it might be a little hot out there, but it's a good way. It's a good way to get on your sweat really easy, but just make sure you're drinking the water with the coconut water as well for the electrolytes.
Excellent advice, especially that coconut water. Being here in Arizona, it's funny because you will see the masses of people out between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. By 9 a.m., it's triple digits. There's just, you don't even get to walk your dog, right? It's horrible for the dog anyway. But, and then right around 7, just before sunset, you start seeing people like walking out of their house and taking their kids for a walk. So definitely, as Joanne says, manage whatever environment you're in, whatever you need to do. Dress properly for it, hydrate properly for it. Don't forget that you're taxing your system, and be responsible about that. Now you were just saying, you've been working out since you're 12. You know all the rules. You know where they can be broken effectively, and do things differently.
Well, rule number 1 before you go further.
Okay, go ahead.
There's no such thing as breaking a rule effectively.
Okay.
There is no such thing. When you have the mindset that you're doing a workout and you have a specific protocol to how it's supposed to go for you, that's how it's supposed to go.
There you go.
I have a sister who has said to me and says to other people that she feels somewhere along the line in my past life I was a drill sergeant, because I'm very, very strict and very I don't know the other word, but I'm very this
regimented.
Is how it has to be. Yeah, there you go. This is how it has to be, you know. And I'm a firm believer in, especially for someone who has a challenging time being motivated to do their workout, that it's really important to have a specific time of day that you do your workout. Whereas if you say, well, I'll do my workout later, or I'll get it in at some point today, unless you're extremely disciplined, that's not going to happen.
Right.
Like, I know for myself, if I don't get my workout in, let's say 2 p.m, I can say to myself, I will come back and do this workout tonight. And I do. Mm-hmm. I will come back and do it. Doesn't matter what time and what time later, as long as it's before midnight, because then that's the next day.
Yeah.
But it's really important to have a specific time frame that you get your workout in and know that you're blocking out that time.
Right.
Like I know for myself, especially because, I've been pretty busy over the last couple of weeks. And for whatever the reasons are, I might have like scheduled a client during the block time that I would do my workout.
Mm-hmm.
And I get pretty darn irritated when
you endorphin junkies, you.
When I look at the clock and I'm like, sugar, I should be in my workout at this time, and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to make sure, and I advise that to all my clients and potential clients, that if you are really not motivated and disciplined and committed, you need a specific time that you're going to get a workout in, and block out that time so you know that nothing, no matter what it is or who it is going to get in the way of that workout. 100%. And be really diligent about it. And again, that's where a personal trainer comes into play as well. Because again, I've been doing this for a really long time, over 30 years to be exact. And I know clients, if they did not have that accountability, they would miss their workout.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree 100%. My godmother used to say, a date or it won't happen. A date or it won't happen. Because you always, you call up and you're like, oh yeah, let's get together. A date or it won't happen. Right?
Exactly.
And it doesn't, it can be a time too, or it won't happen.
Exactly. And interesting enough, when we talk about the gyms, going back to the gym for a minute, which I think, and I'm not really 100% sure how the gyms are actually implementing their whole process between the social distancing and wearing the mask. But it would be really interesting to know if they end up scheduling appointments for people to come in, where they have to call to say, well, this is the time I want to come in to do their workout. So it's not like working with their personal trainer. It's like you have 1 hour. That's your time frame where you can go in. Because I am sure that most gyms are going to have a restriction of how many people they can have in their facility at a time.
Yeah, that would make sense, yeah.
So I think that will be helpful for those who have that challenging time about, accountability. But when we think about those who are restricted in reference to autoimmune disease and that they are that special client that might be questioning what the heck they should be doing, I think a lot of it is, reframing from the gym for now, or really like we spoke on before, evaluating, maybe looking at the energetic perspective to their condition and seeing if they can work on healing it so they can eventually get back to the gym. Because I know many people go to the gym for socializing. It's not just necessary for the workout. It's also to socialize, especially those who are looking to meet somebody.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. You want to be at your best.
Yeah, which I always laugh because, again, I've been doing this for a long time. And I remember one time I was working out or getting ready to work out. And I used to work out in the gym where there was primarily all guys. And I was friendly with all of them. And I had come in one day and I had on this one-piece workout gear, which was shorts. And I was going to work my legs that day. And as I come out of the locker room, one of the guys says to me, he looks at me, goes, you working legs today? And I was like, yeah, why? He goes, are you working out in that today? I'm like, yeah, why? What's the problem? He goes, oh, no. He says, look, I love you like a sister. And, you cannot work out in that if you're working your legs today. I'm like, excuse you? I'm like, what's the problem? He's like, I know I'm into my, and this is where I'm going with this, because most of the time, the guys are really into themselves when they work out. They're not really paying attention to the women. So when women are looking to want to join a gym so they can socialize and possibly meet somebody, most men are too busy being involved with their own routine that they're not really focusing on a woman. Except for that day when that guy in the gym was like, oh, no, you the leg workout wearing that. Can you go put sweatpants on? I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, there's no sweatpants. He's and he did. He really was serious. He was like, no, you need to go put the sweatpants on. No, but that was the one and only time that I've ever experienced in all my years of working out in the gym, where a guy said to me, could you please just go put on some sweatpants?
Well, that's kind of flattering. I mean, we won't go into the many layers of sexism and how women have historically had to modify what they wear so that men don't have to control themselves. But it's kind of flattering. When I used to go to a gym, I haven't always been this plump and healthy. Uh, a lot of my recovery from my childhood stuff had to do with me discontinuing the practice of starving myself when I thought I'd done something wrong. So I was
Oh.
severely underweight even after my kids were born. And I would go into the gym and I had like this special diet. I had to eat pasta. I had to eat all these things I don't even like. But because they're fatty and bread, and I've never liked bread. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I would go in there and I'd be working out and I would look around and I would be getting all of these nasty looks from other women
Ooh.
because they didn't understand why I was there. I mean, I
Yes.
actually had people go, "What are you doing here?" Right?
Yes.
And they don't realize. So I'm putting that out there just kind of to remind people when you do go out into a gym, you really don't know what the person is there exercising for.
Oh yeah. Oh, and
So
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a true fact. Because I mean, many people think that people need to work out because they're overweight,
mhm,
and some people need to work out just for the sole factor of stress release or
mhm,
whatever's going on that they're healing from.
right.
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's important.
Now, along those lines, because like uh, what we were talking about is as far as there's so many different types, right? Of underlying stuff. I wanted to touch on that a little bit before we get to what your offer is today. Because we were talking about immune compromise, compromised immune systems, right? And sometimes it's not necessarily even an immune system issue, but sometimes maybe it's a pain in your body, right?
Yes.
Not too long after I started the last contract that I had with a day job, right? I developed this really bad pain in my shoulder and I couldn't raise my arms and, classic symptoms, right?
Yeah.
Of
Yes.
some sort of pinched nerve or knotted up muscle. And I went and saw somebody who has intuitive capacities and she said, well, you're just carrying something that's not your own, right?
Yes.
And that's where that energetic kind of stuff can come in. I
Yes.
could have gone the whole medical route and chiropractor and x-rays and doctors and give me something to just relieve the pain and all of that. But what it really came down to was within 2 weeks after my contract with that company ended, the pain went away.
Oh yeah.
I
That
was
that makes a lot
carrying
of
their
sense.
business and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't mine to carry, and on a deep level I resented it, right?
Yes.
I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
willing to choose otherwise, but I resented it, and that resentment caused a pain to linger until the trigger for that pain disappeared. So again, I'm just trying to bring this all around because a lot of the times what we think is a problem is not necessarily the problem. There's an underlying thing, which is
Yes.
where I believe that your holistic approach to fitness, bringing in the Reiki, bringing in the energy healing as well to it, really offers above and beyond what you would get out of most workout places, right?
Yes.
You might get a little massage at some really great places, um, but it's not necessarily energy work, right? It's not
Yeah.
Reiki. It's not chi going where chi is needed in this moment. So tell me a little bit more about what you do that brings that energy healing into it, and then tell us about what you've got on offer today for our audience.
Sure. Sure. Well, when I work with clients, initially I have a conversation with them to find out what underlying causes might show up for them. In regards, you have the traditional health form that most trainers have their clients fill out, which is really funny. I don't. I actually use my beautiful deck of cards that I design to have a conversation with my client, with my potential client, in reference to finding out what some underlying causes are, what they've been walking around with, and possibly when it actually started for them, age wise.
Okay.
And in that point, I will have a conversation with them to find out, as you've just mentioned before, where if someone is walking around with, let's say, I'm going to use the back because it's an easy body part, and probably many people can relate to it as well.
Right, right.
Like many people walk around with discomfort in the lower back or middle part of the back and complaining about chronic back pain all the time. Now, metaphysically, when we think about the back in itself, the back is what supports us. It's by the spine, and our spine supports us so we can do what we need to do in our life in regards to mind, body, and spirit. But when things are not going well, when someone is under stress, of no matter what level the stress is, where they're not feeling supported by, let's say, their job, or they're not feeling supported by their family member, or they're not feeling supported by themselves, this is going to result in discomfort in the back. Now, I cannot tell you how many countless of clients that I have worked with who have literally gone to chiropractors, massage therapists, even for that matter, PT, with their back pain, and undergone where they had to do the ice to heat, staying away from working out, which blows my mind altogether. I'm like, why can't you work out because your back is bothering you? Well, they say I shouldn't. They say I need to just rest it. I'm like, and I'm totally against that. I'm like, no. We don't want to rest it, but we do want to see what we can do and what is the cause of it. And usually what I will do is I'll ask them what's going on at the time that triggered the back to bother them. And they may have to go back. They may have to pull back a little bit and think, evaluate it. And once they actually can pinpoint what it might be, they start talking about it. And then all of a sudden, what happens as they speak about it, it's either one or two things. The back will start to flare up where it gets really, really tight, or the back pain will start to sort of decrease a little bit. And as we speak about it, they either start to feel really better, or it's like they're like, oh my God, it's like getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I'll say to them, keep talking about what it is that you're speaking about, because we need to talk. We need to get the energy out, and we need to understand where it came from. And then when I do that with them in that session, before we even get into a workout, I then ask them to, after that point, I'll have them do one or two movements, which are functional movements. And what a functional movement is something we do in our daily life. And that would either be a little twist, because how many times a day do we twist?
Right.
Just twisting to put something away, or if you have children, you're twisting to, hand them something, whatever the case is. So it's just really natural. And by them doing that, they're getting the what we call the blood to flow, and also the energy to flow. And that allows whatever stagnation that's going on in the back to move. And upon having them having this conversation with me, they're moving the energy, the stagnant energy that's creating the back discomfort. And then usually what I say to them is, within a couple of days, you will start to notice your back pain decreasing. And along with, I give them exercises to do. It's not just about, just the energy work. It's like, I'll give them a series of some home exercises to do so they can actually help to strengthen the back as well. So they're moving, and they're also focusing in on where the intellectual situation occurred from to begin with. That was the underlying cause. Right. To discomfort.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that's what I do when I work with clients when they come in. So it's not like I don't have them just fill out a health history of all the things that is wrong with them. I go over and we have a conversation about it. And hopefully within that session, I can help them come to some conclusion of something, and they walk out learning something about their situation that they didn't know beforehand.
Excellent stuff. I'm 100% online with what you're talking about, and you're reminding me of Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life.
Yes.
Boy, that is very, very helpful research for figuring out at the cause of, for lack of a better word, some sort of affliction. And I love how she separates as well. The lower back is like self-support. The
Yes.
middle back is like community support, like people in your
Hmm.
family or people at work aren't supporting you, that type of thing. So you
Yes.
can get really specific when, okay, exactly where is the pain? Where is that sitting? And then lead in that way.
Yes.
That's awesome stuff. So what are you offering today? I mean, this is pretty amazing. I mean, you can't get this just anywhere.
Yes. Well, I'm offering something amazing and very special. And it's free, a 10-minute, I like to call it chakra balance Reiki treatment. 10 minutes where it gives the individual a chance to taste the type of work that I do with them.
Hmm.
And I will almost promise, and I usually don't guarantee anything, but I will almost guarantee that even in that 10-minute session, they will walk out feeling better than they did when they before they actually sat down with me.
Nice.
And these sessions are available remotely and also on site for those who do live in the New York area. So I could do either way.
Hmm.
So I don't want those who feel like they're in Arizona, like, oh, I'm going to miss out on this. No, no, no. Everybody can take advantage of it. So it's a 10-minute free chakra balance Reiki treatment that they
Excellent.
can receive from me.
Excellent. And they can get access to this by emailing you at
healingwithin76@gmail.com.
excellent. And that is going along on our ticker right now. So hopefully you've had a chance to see that while we were chatting, audience. And I totally encourage you to reach out and take advantage of this because even just a 10-minute conversation with Joanne will have your day go so much better afterwards. I know from experience. Absolutely, 100%. So, Joanne, final thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience today? I want to thank you for being with us. This has been wonderful for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And my final thoughts for the audience, especially those who are getting really excited about going back to the gym and being worried about whether or not they should, let's let go of the word should and just go with what your gut intuition is actually telling you. So if your gut intuition is saying, you know what, let's hold off for right now and continue doing the workouts at home, go with your gut intuition. And if your gut intuition is saying, you know what, I'm ready to go back and just take the precautions you need to take and go back. So really have to trust your intuition. Otherwise, reach out to me and I'll guide you.
Awesome. Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you again very, very much for being my guest again today. I always love having you on the show. Always a great time. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon.
And I love being here. So thank you again for inviting me.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you again. Bye. When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life?